let's just jump into it. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be doing another SH MonsterArts unboxing. This one for the 2019 Godzilla King of the Monsters SH figure. Holy cow, it has been since August 31st, 2018 since I filmed my last SH MonsterArts unboxing. Since 2018, I've had this stupid pile growing in my background, and I'm ready for it to go. The big hangup was that I never had enough shelving for the figures. So I had the figures, but I didn't have a shelf for them, so I waited until I had another MonsterArts shelf to open MonsterArts figures. I have that now, so I can open them now. So I can finally get to these figures. But I know, I'm gonna get those comments like, oh, D-Man, you blew it, you wasted your opportunity. You should have posted this 2-3 years ago. Shut up! I don't care. I don't care. There was reasons why I didn't, okay? Can you not see that I think about these things? Also, subscribe to me if you haven't before. Or face the consequences. Just think about that for a moment, okay? Also, shout out to my friend Felix. You guys may or may not know him. He has a YouTube channel of his own, PewDiePie. I don't know if you've heard of him. But he told me that if I wanted to reduce the overexposure on my face while keeping the light here, I should tape a tissue to it because I don't have a diffuser. So I took his advice, and I think it's working pretty well. Makes me look a little gray, but it's better than looking pure white and red. All right, man, let's get into this. August 31st, 2018. I cannot believe how long it's been. It's currently September 4th, 2021. So I have no idea when this video is going to go out, but at least now you have a context as to when I recorded it. Here we have the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2019 in its box. It's a little crinked. The box has been damaged. I came like this, so it's just a little bent in, and so it's not in perfect condition. The box lived right there underneath. If you've noticed in a lot of my videos, there's been a laptop sitting here. It was sitting on top of the SH box. Currently, Godzilla is sitting in front of where it used to be. So he's finally been uprooted from his home, and I have it out. I've never even actually looked at this box before. It's just been living in the background. All right, so checking out the actual box here, it's kind of a really cool box. On this side, covered in glare here, you've got Godzilla himself. So this is the actual figure. You get a little teaser of the atomic breath, which I actually didn't know they included, but that's really cool that they included. So you have Godzilla here. Moving along, you have this big promo image of him, and I love the King of the Monsters font. I always thought that was a really cool font. I also like the little Monsterverse emblem here. I know it wasn't huge on the Monsterverse name when they announced it, but I love that they worked the monarch symbol into it. And then, of course, here's the big Godzilla display, Godzilla 2019. They've also got this really cool silver pendant here. And then the 65 years logo of Shin Godzilla, of course, your trademarks here, and then some just distributor info about SHMA. On the side here, you've got this Godzilla banner. It's Godzilla roaring into the sky, kind of a very iconic King of the Monsters image, and it's ironic enough, the kink runs right through his mouth, so it looks like he's screaming his breath into the sky. Again, here you've got Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's a similar font to the movie, but it's not quite the same as the actual movie font that you see up here. Same up here on top, you've got this Godzilla font, and then a little window looking in. I don't know why they placed the one on the top. That's a little strange, but whatever. On the bottom, you've got another little Godzilla against a whole bunch of distributor info, and this one's actually really cool. It comes with some extra details about, like, be careful where you set your figure and blah blah blah, just like stuff for collectors to know. On the back of the box, you've got a whole display of Godzilla images. So you've got Godzilla roaring up here. It's really cool. And then I like all these little poses on the back, including this one of him shooting his beam into the sky. Again, it's the same iconic poster image. It was the standout shot from Godzilla King of the Monsters, so it makes sense that it'd be all over. And that's probably how I'll display it too, just because it's awesome. In fact, Toho must have thought it was so awesome that they had their own Godzilla do that in Singular Point, so it's pretty damn cool. Getting him out, they have some instructions on how to put the atomic breath in, so that's nice. Thank you for that. Box just has this generic blue background. Hey, it's still better than that weird one that NECA kept putting. Oh man, it's been a hot minute since I have touched an SH figure. I forgot how sharp and spiky and jagged they are. They're also really hard. All right, got all the pieces out. What do I start with? I feel like I would normally start with the atomic breath. I have not held an SH figure in way too long. I mean, I've held the ones that I've opened, but I've not really done it. I've not touched them. They sit in a glass shelf. It's nice to touch one again. It's nice to get a new one. I can't really afford SH figures anymore, so these last ones that I'm opening are going to be my last ones for a while. I like I like it. So this is really a very interesting take on problem solving here. In order to avoid having a little base stand for the atomic breath, it seems that they just have a little jaw attachment. And now the jaw does have this little fleshy membrane, good detailing, as well as just some pretty good sculpting overall. And it's very well painted. And then it's got the base of the atomic breath already implemented. It's got some teeth here. They don't appear to be individually sculpted or anything, but that's okay because this is a gimmick thing. This is just for the atomic breath. So you're not really going to be paying attention to stuff like that, but it's got this base piece of the atomic breath here. The atomic breath seen here is actually a really, really wonderful sculpt, and it's got a lot of great detailing on it. It's really cool. It doesn't really register on the camera, but it is a little translucent, and you guys know that I really like that. It's got these really cool grooves and textures here on this base piece, and it kind of looks like it's exploding out, which is really cool. And then overall, it's just got a really nice texturing to it. It's got a really cool look. It's very well sculpted and detailed. I mean, it doesn't really register on the camera, but there's a lot of very intricate stuff happening in here, and it's much more detailed than all of the other atomic breaths that you get for, say, Playmates or NECA. It also looks a lot more movie accurate than the NECA one, which is just a little bit more of a thin stream. This one looks a little more wavy, kind of like it was in the movies. By the time you get to Godzilla vs. Kong, it's a little more classic like the NECA or the Playmates, but as far as King of the Monsters, this is a little more 2014 style. And I guess this could be a reuse from the 2014 ones. I don't know if those had atomic breath, but here they are together when you see they attach right here, and it's kind of noticeable. I mean, it's noticeable up close. You can definitely see it there. You could totally see, even if it's not in focus, and you can still see it. It's kind of noticeable back here, but it's not too big of a deal to where it'll be like a deal breaker, I think. Maybe some people. But yeah, I don't have the 2014 SH figure, so I have no idea what that's like, but here's the 2019 one. It was the first MonsterVerse one I was able to get. I have looked into getting the 2014 one. It's just too expensive at this point. It's not worth it. As far as I can tell, it's a whole new sculpt. They didn't reuse anything from the old one. It's a new face, it's new dorsal spines, new body and everything. And so that's really cool. He is a little stiff, and I'm very nervous with these SH figures because they just are so fragile. So I'm kind of trying to gently manipulate him into articulating. He is quite stiff at the moment. That was like 5 whole minutes of my life I'm never getting back. He just came out of the box in a very strange pose. This leg was like kicking forward, and so it left this huge gap here. It actually, there appears to be a much bigger gap on camera than it's really noticeable in person, because the gap in person is filled in with skin, so it's not as bad as it looks on camera, I will say. His leg came kicking forward a lot, and it took a lot of slow maneuvering to get it into a standing up position. Not that there's anything wrong with the kick forward position, it was kind of cool, but just to kind of cover up the big gap right there. Took a little bit of work, but there's a lot of articulation going on here, and that's what SH is known for, is you can articulate a lot. Although I will say the articulation is quite limited by the sculpt itself, so although there's lots of joints, you can't actually do as much with them as you could on a figure like maybe NECA's, and that is a limit. See what I mean? Damn it. All right, see you later. Okay, so I was trying to say that's kind of a limitation of the sculpt. Because the sculpt is so complex, the articulation is sacrificed as a result of that, despite the fact that there's a lot of joints for articulation. As I learned, his preferred stance is kind of this hunched over sumo pose, kind of cool anyways, but that's his preferred stance because of this back piece, the way the tail's put on. This is like a little ring that holds the tail in position, and the ball joint for the tail is really short, so in order to plug the tail in, his tail needs to be like not have a lot of resistance, so you can't really move the legs in certain ways. So that's why the thighs kick out, like in the box position. I guess that makes a lot of sense why he came in that position. I just got him into it again. No, I'm not gonna be able to get him out of it easily. That's okay. Okay, so by my count, there's like 48, give or take, joints of articulation, most of which are in the tail, and the tail does hold its poses pretty well, so you can do poses with it. It's just that you can't do a ton of posing with it because it's not long enough to bend in certain ways, so he can't really arc it the way that Godzilla often does in older movies, which I guess makes sense because for some reason Michael Dougherty made the tail way shorter for the King of the Monsters Godzilla than it was for the 2014 one. Here in the legs, you got the thigh, the knee, and then the shin, and then the foot, so you can actually do quite a bit with it. And then there are texturing on the bottom of the feet, which I like. For the arms, you got the elbows and the shoulders and then the wrists, which is cool. And then for the head, you've got the mouth and the neck, and a lot of points on the neck actually. But again, it actually turns out it doesn't really mean much. Maybe some some people have better luck with theirs than I do, and maybe it's just a matter of you need to heat it up. That's often the issue. But I can't do a ton with mine. I can't turn his torso much. His torso's pretty locked in place. I can't really turn it side to side. There's not much I can do with the upper torso. Most I can do is make him bend down and then look up. That's about the most I could do. The head I can do quite a bit with, which is cool. You can do quite a bit with the head. But again, it's like some of the other points you can't do as much with, such as the legs, because then you'll pop off the tail. The tail isn't long enough. So there's a give and take here. There's a lot of points of articulation, but you can't do a ton with them. As far as the actual sculpting goes, it's absolutely gorgeous. There's so many great details. The face looks incredible. There's so much going on in the face. This mouth looks really, really great, and there's so much going on throughout. There's a lot of really great texturing here, and it's just really, really well textured. I can't stress that enough. It looks fantastic. The chest looks fantastic. The legs look fantastic. You can like see the skin and muscle and some of the veins here. The scales are incredibly well done. I love the way that the different scales are textured and the way that they look perfectly like in the movie. This is based on the CGI sculpt, and you can really, really tell they put a lot of detail into it. There's skin texturing all down the tails and all through the dorsal spines, and it looks really, really great. The face also looks super mean and scary, and I love it. As far as paint goes, he's pretty gray, but then there are some brownish highlights throughout, so they actually do a pretty good job of making him not look one note, even though he is pretty one note. He doesn't look very bland, even though there's not a ton going on with the paint, which is pretty impressive that they managed to pull that off. The face looks really great. There's a lot of great reds in the mouth and white in the mouth, and the eyes are yellow, which is really nice. I love the way that the fingernails and nails, which also again have really great texturing and detail. I love the way they look, and they're also a different color, so they stand out a little more. Really, where this figure is shining over everything else is the sculpt. The sculpt is really, really incredible. It looks super well detailed, super well realized. The paint is really good. It's just a very, very pretty looking figure. If you're going for articulation, it's not great. It's got a lot of limitations with articulation that unfortunately are problems. Comparing it here to the NECA, it's kind of night and day, a lot of the differences. They're similar sizes. The SH is a little smaller than the NECA. The NECA leans a little more into the brown, so the NECA stands out a little more as being very brown, where this one's a lot more gray. Neither one is more movie accurate than the other. I mean, it just kind of depends on the context of how he's lit and the scene he's in. The SH one has a much better sculpt. It looks way better, way deeper. It's way more well realized, and the face is way, way, way better. And in terms of like the paint, some of the littler details, like if you open up their mouths and take a peek inside, you can really see that the SH has a much better and much more well realized mouth. And it's just a lot of the little details on the SH stand out much better. The reason I think the NECA is so powerful is because you have such a freedom of articulation. You can really turn it and pose him how you need. He doesn't have as many points of articulation, but he can still kind of do more with the articulation he has than the MonsterArts. His tail has about the same range. It holds a little less. It falls back down a lot more. It's a little heavier. At least in the torso, you can turn his torso. You can do whatever you want with the legs, and you don't have to worry about the tail popping off. Up here in the neck and head, you can turn the head and neck pretty much exactly how you can for the SH. You can maybe do a little more. So this is a situation where I think the NECA actually has better articulation than the SH, even though the SH is known for articulation, and it all just comes down to the SH is so over detailed and over sculpted that you actually sacrifice a lot of that articulation with it. That's fine, because I keep them on shelves. So I'm only saying this for people who, you know, do like toy photography and stuff like that. Let's try out this other jaw. I have a feeling this is going to be a nightmare. Without the rest of the atomic breath, this headpiece does look a little awkward. It actually wasn't as big of a deal getting this piece in and out as I was expecting it to be. The jaw comes out just fine. Getting this piece in is a little strange. I don't know if it's plugged in. There is a little port, you know, the little ball joint that's supposed to plug up into the upper jaw. I don't know if that's as much of a factor here as just the fact that the jaw is kind of being snuggled in place by how tight the top of the head is. I can't tell, but it's in there and it's holding for now. And then plugging that final piece in, I mean, he holds it pretty well. I'm not gonna like do what I would do with the Playmates, where I'd kind of shake it to show that it's holding, because it's not held in that well. Another thing that I'm noticing, and it's just because I'm kind of moving him well, it's happening, but having his head pointed straight up in the air, kind of the poster style that is seen on all the images. It's a little harder to get him into that position than I was expecting. There you go. Now I got it. Just because when you're moving him, his head tends to like slowly lower. So it will probably look fine on a shelf. You're not going to really notice on a shelf because he's not going to be like bumping around and moving like he is in my hands. But there you go. Like, see, when he's moving, it slowly drops, which is fine. You know, it's to be expected. But again, he is holding it pretty well. He can hold it in there and move with it. So that's really nice. I love that they don't have a beam stand for this and that they found a way to have it be locked in place like this. That's actually really cool. So I'm actually a big fan of that. And I really like that. I think it's a really neat thing that all of them are doing. Like NECA's found a way to do it, Playmate's found a way to do it, and SH found a way to do it. That's really cool. Overall, I guess it's kind of hard to rate this one just because there is a give and take with it where some of the things are awesome and some of the things aren't. The sculpt is really, really great, but the articulation isn't the best. I don't know if I could crown this as the new King of the Monsters figures. I think that would probably go to NECA. I think he's who holds it currently. The only reason I think I would probably keep it with this NECA is because it's just a more affordable option, especially now that this is discontinued. It's going to be really hard to get this. So if you're looking for this figure in particular, it's probably going to break your bank. And I don't know if it's totally worth it when the NECA exists. There are things that are really great about this SH one. I really like the atomic breath. I actually have it in upside down. I think it's supposed to go in like this direction. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. I love the atomic breath, and the sculpt is really, really great. It's very well painted, very well sculpted. The face looks really incredible, and that's one thing that the NECA doesn't have, is as good of a looking face. This one has an incredible face, and it's just a very nice feeling figure. But again, there is not as much articulation as they think there is, just because the sculpt is so over detailed that they sacrificed a lot of it. So that's something you got to watch out for. I think I would probably rate this figure a 7 out of 10. It was cheap when I bought it. It was like 70, 80 bucks when I bought it. So it was cheaper for an SH figure, which is really nice. It was really nice that it was that cheap. And again, I cannot stress how perfect the sculpt is. It looks incredible. If you've never seen this thing in person, it looks much better than you can picture. Much better than I thought it was going to look. That's also funny. I'm realizing now that back when they did King of the Monsters, I remember there was like December Comic-Con. I think it was Brazil maybe, when they revealed all of the... Oh, it was Tokyo. Tokyo Comic-Con revealed all of the monster designs in SH form before we ever saw them in the trailers. That was really cool. It's kind of nice to have this in my hand now after all these years, and I've owned him for a while. I'm just saying that there is a little bit of a downside with the articulation. It's something you got to watch out for. So 7 out of 10 I think is a fair rating for this figure, just because the sculpt is really great, but the articulation is a problem. I'm sorry it took me this many years to review it. I didn't have a shelf for him, so I couldn't unbox him. I had nowhere to put him. I want to give a huge thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. You guys are absolutely the best. If you want to support the Patreon, please help me out. Link in the description below. It goes a really long way towards supporting the channel, making sure I can keep making videos like this for you. Big thank you to all my patrons. I really appreciate it, guys. If you join the Patreon, you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, you can request videos, and more. All right, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.